I'm not even going to say my name or the name of this show. I'm going to first address a controversy that was brought up last week in our Saturday Night Live trivia, where the question was posed, which film lost the most money domestically? And Matt, you had an issue with that right away, and you, in fact, backed it up with numbers to support your claim, and yet you were still in the wrong. Would you care to explain to our listeners how that was?
Okay, well, I was trying to justify my quick response last week on the show. The question was, which Saturday Night Live movie lost the most of their budget, or something like that, the actual dollar amount. And the reality was I was wrong, because Stuart Saves His Family lost more because it had a $15 million budget and it lost like $14.999 million, something like that. So it wasn't really close that way. But what I did see online, for whatever reason, I found a list of movies that lost higher, like the highest percentages of their budgets. So Stuart Saves His Family lost like 95% of its budget. Then I looked at It's Pat, which was my quick first response, lost 98.9% of its budget, like an insanely laughable amount. The fact of the matter is, It's Pat was only made for $12 million versus the $15 million for Stuart Saves His Family, and you can tell, like it's obvious when you watch those films, like there's more money on the screen for Stuart Saves His Family, no doubt about it. I mean, It's Pat, kind of a smaller, more personal film, and anyway, so I looked and I was just trying to not justify my law or losing the points to that question, because I did win overall, but I did want to set kind of
technicality.
Well, sure. The technicality that more points make a winner, I guess.
Yeah.
More points equals better than.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just saw that, and I wanted to share it to at least explain to my brothers, and also to, I guess now to the listeners, that I might have been wrong, but it wasn't that wrong. It wasn't that far out of left field.
Yeah, well, the biggest problem with Stuart Saves His Family and why it lost the most money is the spoilers right there in the title. You already know what's happening.
Right, exactly.
So I think that's what really shot it in the foot, and that's why I felt pretty confident that it had lost the most dollars.
You don't need to see the movie. It's already there.
I already know what happens. Stuart.
Does he save his family? I bet he does.
It should be called like Can Stuart Save His Family?
Or just Stuart Saves His Family ?
And you kind of like a shrug at the end and then
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's Pat actually had an exclamation mark at the end of its title, I believe.
It did.
Yeah. So I like films with punctuation.
Inflammatory.
It's more ambiguous.
Right. That's why, like,
Kind
for
of like
instance,
Pat, his or herself.
Exactly. A sketch on SNL that I don't think anyone would ever say is like, oh, that should be a movie. I don't know how it got that far.
I don't know.
It's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
They just went on a tear in the 90s. They were just like optioning off. It's like comic book movies now.
Yeah.
They were just optioning off every... no, Blues Brothers was.
Okay, yeah. Well, Blues Brothers would have been like the 80s. I'm trying to think like what started like the whole Wayne's World 2 kind of 90s trend. It might have just been Wayne's World for all I know.
I think Coneheads was still in the 80s, though.
Right.
Because Coneheads came out long after Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin were in the cast.
Right.
Like a long time after.
Probably like
1993.
1993.
Coneheads, yeah. So Wayne's World would have been like 91 or 2 or 90, wouldn't it have been?
It's funny to think that they would go from people in the current cast to just go like, oh, let's go back and make one of,
Maybe Lauren was just so into the sketch because it's such an old sketch idea from the 70s that Lauren was just kind of like, well, yeah, let's do this one too. But I think Wayne's World was like 91 and Wayne's World 2 was 92.
Wayne's World 1 was 92.
Oh, okay. And then, all right. Oh, so 93 was Wayne's World 2 and Coneheads.
Yeah, the old double
in the same year.
They did it before Captain America and Thor.
That's right. Yeah, they should make a Saturday Night Live version of Avengers where they do like a 90-minute show every week, and they have sketches featuring the different characters, but they all kind of blend in. I think that would be a really cool idea. That could really get someplace.
What was the last SNL themed movie to be released? MacGruber?
I believe so. Yes, and they're making
very odd ways of choosing what characters get what movies. So I don't think there's ever been a rhyme or reason to it. And until we get a Drunk Uncle movie, I will not be satisfied.
Drunk Uncle Saves His Family.
Yes. From Pat.
Well, it had to be from the immigrants, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's the greatest threat to the character. You have to think like the character would think.
Just like Red Dawn Part 2.
I saw the Red Dawn remake. I actually didn't mind it.
Oh, you're the one. You're the guy who saw
Starring
it.
Thor. Yeah.
It was on Netflix, guys. I didn't really
Thor
go see it.
and Peter.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of what
Not the animal
made me want the movie
but
for me.
the guy from the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just really bothers me how his name's not Peter.
Yes, it doesn't make sense.
It's very annoying.
Well, they have quite silly names, the Hunger Games, don't they?
Well,
Isn't that the thing, Matt? You actually mentioned something about this Hunger Games city where they were like, oh, those people from there, they got really weird names.
Oh gosh, I think something like that. I mean, Katniss and her sister are both named after flowers.
Yes.
So there's a little bit like we already name people after flowers. It's not that crazy. I think PETA is entirely not discussed. But this, I mean, the movies and the books have become kind of a cultural touchstone for ridiculous names. You know, there's Finnick. I forget what Philip Seymour Hoffman, God rest his soul's character's name is, but it's like Quiddleditch Thumb Pork or something.
I think it's just Greg.
It's Greg. It's my wife, Dharma.
Ugh. Boo.
Oh, come on.
The one and only Greg from television, as we all know.
Yeah. Sorry, I was listening to the Jan Dan podcast this week, and they mentioned Dharma and Greg, and it jogged my memory.
Hey, thanks for just outright mentioning our competition right on the podcast.
Yeah, everyone's got to switch.
Competition.
Everyone's got to
Mark
switch
Maron
channels.
is on Comedy Bang Bang, etc.
That's why, hey, just stop it, would you?
Naming other podcasts.
Everyone's changing the podcast dial now to these guys because they spent the same amount of money on their podcast they spend on ours, but, you know, we're delightfully unprofessional and they're, you know, famous people.
I'm hoping they animate ours and turn it into an HBO show.
Well, that's the goal, right? That's where all the chingle's at. Are they
all the chingles right there?
Need some of that chingle.
Are they recording again? I thought they stopped making their podcast.
Apparently back.
They came back after a 3 or 4 month, and I thought it was going to be more like I thought the reason why they were gone was going to be more interesting, but it was just because every month it seemed they were on their way to getting a new sponsor, and they never got one. So eventually they were like, "All right, we should just do this."
Ah, okay.
They still don't have one.
Yeah, no, they do not have one. When they did their Canadian podcast, they were sponsored by Mark's Work Warehouse.
And then they had the president on.
The president on, and then I think a week or two later they canceled their sponsorship.
Yeah.
Which is a story I'd love to hear, but
Mark's T-Max Heat Socks. We'll continue to just throw out random, sponsors.
Random sponsors.
Picks up.
Yeah.
I tried a Rockstar Energy Cola this week just to see how it was. Not great.
Is that
probably terrible? Is it like Buzz Cola?
I guess it must have been similar to it, but it was like it had the weirdest aftertaste.
My favorite is Jolt.
Jolt Cola. Yeah, The Simpsons had the best name for a cola, and actually they had it released in, I think, more than just a Buzz Cola. Yeah, and they released it at 7-Eleven on around the time of the film came out in 2007. 7-Elevens, and they converted some 7-Elevens to Quickie Marts. And they sold Buzz Cola and pink frosted donuts. And I think they had Duff beer, too. What else do they have? Krusty O's. And then so, anyways, that was their promotional tie-in. Speaking of sponsors that we don't have, what date is it? November 7th. Edition of the Jay and Dan podcast as Diamond Dallas Page, our own, talking about DDP yoga. So
DDP,
if you want to hear it from our BF, nice. That's too early. Why am I laughing at that? If you want to check out, if you want to hear it from some other horses' mouths about DDP yoga and from the horse himself, you can listen to the Jay and Dan podcast. Friends of the show.
Yeah.
Is how we can...
Friends of the show.
You
don't
can
think
be
any
friend
of
of
us
the
are
show
secure.
for a small donation.
Right.
I mean, if we say they're friends of the show, no one's, who can fact check that? It's impossible.
Insist.
Yeah, but then they know who we are. Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
We
sure.
get or maybe just their lawyers know who we are. But that's still that's like 6 degrees of separation. If their lawyers know us, then I'm sure they have heard of us at some point, and they'll fly us down to L.A. to be on the show.
Will, what's your Kevin Bacon kind of 6 degrees in Kevin Bacon number right now? Do you know?
I think it's quite high, actually, quite high. And by high, I mean not at all high. I'm gonna check
There might be a website you
IMDb,
just throw
and
it in there, but
yeah, I'm sure there is, but this is more fun because I said so.
sure. I mean, we don't need to necessarily know right now. Actually, while we were kind of on the subject of me being wrong, I think last week I made a point to say, Carey Price will be fine for the Montreal Canadiens, and no, he's not. He's out for the series. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, he quite isn't. He quite isn't fine. But sometimes ish happens. And then Tokarski is playing quite well.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Ish.
they brought this up during the game, I think game 2, which is even when Carey Price, won those games, Montreal never scored less than 3 goals in a game that Carey Price had won. So Tokarski wasn't really getting the goals, the offensive help. He's looking good, but Montreal needs to find a way to solve Lundqvist, which they did last game, and it's just kind of skate at him till he kicks the puck off your face, and then you win.
That's true.
That's how they scored the overtime winner.
I feel like a lot of the times for a goalie to go well against them, you have to sort of not believe the hype. It's not like we haven't scored a lot of in the playoffs. Lundqvist hasn't had a lot of goals scored on him.
Yeah, and everyone's got
He's
their
not perfect.
There's a book on everybody, right? So his is shoot low and look for a rebound, and don't shoot it higher at his glove.
That's a really short book.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Gives you half of the net to aim at.
That's true.
Yeah.
Will you still looking that up?
I'm very absorbed in IMDb right now.
Okay.
Just talk amongst yourselves.
Right. So we're gonna talk about this week. We're gonna do a little bit of. I think we're gonna talk a little bit about Godzilla.
Have you both seen that?
I believe we both.
I think-
yes, we have.
Yeah.
Well,
We both
We'll
seen
we'll elect to do the non-spoilerific version. We don't have to dissect every movie we see.
Right.
In fact, I'm going to see, after we record this, I'm going to see X-Men DOFPA, which I'm quite looking forward to seeing.
I saw yesterday, and here's just one non-spoiler thing I wanted to say about that. There's no title drop in the movie, so the ridiculous title, which I realize is based on comic books, but that's not enough to title a movie. It goes unexplained. Days of Future Past.
It's just an artsy sort of title.
I hate title drops, so I'm fine with that.
I guess what I'm saying is they shouldn't.
Well,
have
Family
named the
Guy
movie
made a joke about that.
Yes, because I'm
Yeah,
Superman 4, Quest for Peace.
Quest for Peace, yeah. What
actually does make me
what would you rather?
When they do that.
I feel just.
Well, they did it in all the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah. That's why I don't like those movies.
They never did it in Star Wars.
They don't. They never even say the word Star Wars at all. I mean, the phrase Star Wars. They say Star and Wars.
No, they don't. Yeah.
But the thing is, okay, those actually mean something. Days of Future Past is just gibberish that means time travel. So that's not enough. Sorry, guys.
What would you have
I
called
think
it?
they're going
Matt?
to do fine with the name as it is, though.
I know they're going to do fine, but it's
They-
dumb.
It's not. They're not going to have
Well,
the
they
old, the famed Stewart Saves His Family issue.
That's true.
Well,
yeah,
it's
that's true.
it's open to the number one. Well, obviously, it's the number one film. It's also the number one X-Men opening of all time.
Did it
I think
not?
it hit like
Did Blended not beat it this weekend?
Blended got crushed.
Oh,
Blended
please tell me it
bombed.
Ugh, I
It
hope
made
it
like
negative dollars.
$17 million or something like that.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot for.
But it cost. It cost $45 million to make. It's not quite the.
90% of that is their salaries.
Yeah,
it's not a Stewart saves the. It's not a Stewart saves his family style bomb, but it did quite poorly.
Good, but that's just me.
I wonder if it did quite poorly just because it looks like such a bad movie.
I don't even understand what's going on in it. They're just like, yeah, we're going to Africa. We had a horrible date, and our families have to hang out, obviously.
Wait, is that the X-Men plot or still? Oh, no, that's blended.
No, that's, okay. So Magneto and Wolverine go on a blind date, and then they end up in Africa together with both their families.
Blended dates of your past. Mm-hmm.
Well, you could call it that because it's Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore together again. If you want it to be like a reunion of their 51st Dates and Wedding Singer characters, if they met, because Wedding Singer set in the 80s and 51st Dates set in 03 or 04 or something. So if they came in the future and they met with them, that would be very interesting.
It would be. I've never liked the title 51st Dates because it makes it sound like the 51st, like 51ST, and then dates, which doesn't make sense. I don't know. They should have looked at that. That's what I'm saying.
I've never heard it that way. I don't think a lot of people have either.
That's fine. You know what? I bet a lot of people have, Will.
All right. Fair enough. Robert Nepper. All right. I'm still looking up this Kevin Bacon thing, by the way.
Are you still looking? Really?
Yes, it's quite
or something like that. All right. Oh, yeah. Well, I would talk about Champions League, but I don't think anybody's interested in it.
Give us 30 seconds of Champions League, Alex.
Oh no, Will found his thing, so I don't have to do it now.
I want to stick my leg in here if I can. So Kevin Bacon, do I go backwards from me or forwards from him?
I think you say I was in blank and with this person.
Okay, so I was in blank with this person.
Kevin Payson.
Yeah, it was Kevin Bacon.
Okay, so I was in Arrow, the TV series, with everybody on that show. Robert
TV series are hard though because even though you're not in the same episode, so it might augment your number.
Well, and deservedly so. I deserve to be augmented. Robert Nepper, known for Prison Break, there we go, was in Arrow as well as William Talkman, a.k.a. the Clock King. This is all news to me, by the way. And Robert Nepper was also in the film R.I.P.D. I think that's how they wanted it pronounced. And in the film R.I.P.D. is Kevin Bacon. So that's what 4
Kevin
degrees?
Bacon's in that movie?
Yeah, he's the third.
He's the bad guy, I think.
Spoiler alert, man.
For all those who haven't and want to see.
I was clamoring to see R.I.P.
and Police Department.
R.I.P.D. I wanted to see that so badly.
Mike O'Malley also in that movie, apparently. From, what's that show?
Yes, Dear.
Yes, Dear. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I don't
know. Yeah. I don't know that. You know what's funny is that I never knew that actor's name until just now. His IMDb picture looks ridiculous. That hat does not work on him.
He's in Glee a lot.
He's in Glee 'cause he's the dad of one of the kids, right?
Yeah, Kurt, the gay kid.
Yeah, his name's Burt Hummel. He's in 44 episodes.
Yeah, he's in a lot of episodes.
He's got a lot of work. Good for him.
He's also in the canceled Welcome to the Family.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justified, which is
man, a lot of shows get canceled.
I watched Justified for like 5 episodes, and the first like 3 I was like, I love this show, and then the last couple I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
Because was it Mike O'Malley's fault?
It was Mike O'Malley's fault. No,
Mike
I don't know.
O'Malley showed up.
I didn't like that it wasn't the storyline continued too much. I wanted it to be he gets into trouble every week.
Yeah, because it kind of goes into a procedural at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that every week it's like, oh, we're going to spend an hour, and he's probably going to get in a shootout, and they're going to be like, stop using your gun. And he'll be like, it's justified. And then they'll cut to credits.
And they'll play Justin Timberlake.
All
the whole album.
Past is that Matt loves name drops.
Title drops.
Sorry.
I watched all of True Detective, and at no point does anyone say, you know what? Woody Harrelson.
You're a true detective.
You're a true detective. I was waiting I was waiting for it to be the last one.
And they slap 5.
Of that to see, so.
Yeah, let's spoil True Detective on the podcast. What happens at the end?
No. Do they name drop? They don't name drop Godzilla, do they?
Yeah, they do. Well, they say his
title drop. Sorry, name drop is a different thing.
I won't spoil it because it happens.
With Kevin Bacon. That's a name drop.
I won't spoil it because it happens. Not too far into the film. Obviously, they have to kind of like present people with the information, but I guess it is a spoiler. Okay, so I won't say why he says it.
I can plug my ears, but I guess there's other people who would have to.
Okay, no, you know what I will say? I'll like triple backpedal here.
Oh God.
It's very appropriate. The actor in the film who first gets to say the word Godzilla, or the word it's a proper noun. It does not work if you play it in Scrabble. Mm-hmm. Just so you know. No,
I'm going to assume it's Diddy, so that would.
I wouldn't accept it.
It's not a spoiler to say Ken Watanabe says Godzilla.
Okay, well, you just.
I think it's just a nice show
setup.
Of respect.
It is. Which
actually, I don't know how far we're going to go into Godzilla, but I did want to share just something from my.
Very far at all for those of us who haven't seen it yet.
What do you mean?
We'll give it the spoiler-free review. We'll give it the spoiler-free review.
Right.
And
the only thing I'll say at the end of the movie. Okay, sorry. Enjoy the movie.
Oh my God! The only
end of the movie. Oh my God, man!
I'll say at the end of the movie. That's what I like. No, I enjoyed the movie, and then at the end, I was leaving the theater. And sometimes when you watch a movie in theaters, you don't really know who you're with. You don't really see the people who are around you. And as I was leaving, I realized the people who were watching the movie with me, a lot of them were Japanese. A lot of them were Japanese students who go to the university. And I was a little bit struck by like, I feel almost like I should be more respectful to this movie. Not that I was disrespectful, but I should hold it in higher regard because this isn't my culture. This isn't like dear to my culture as it is to theirs. And I was just kind of like, I was happy for them. It's like, if you're, a Japanese person living in Canada or the U.S., even if you're far from home, like you can go see a movie in May called Godzilla, and it's like part of your history, part of your life. And I like that.
Godzilla is originally released in 1954, so that's a 60-year-old film.
Yeah,
which is insane. And they released,
actually.
Yeah.
No.
There actually was a line in one of the Godzilla movies that was released after the American version, where there's a group of soldiers was being briefed on Godzilla, and one of the soldiers says to the other, it's in Japanese, which I can't emulate, unfortunately. And he's like, didn't one of those things, didn't that guy attack New York? Like, oh no, that's not a Godzilla. That was just a Zilla. And he's like, we just, that thing sucked.
No, that movie sucked. Next question.
The movie.
It would be nice if they just turned to the camera too. Break the fourth wall and be like, no, that was bad. This is good. Moving on.
But the good thing about this version of Godzilla is I think some of the executive producers on the film were producers on like original Godzilla movies. Yoshimitsu Banno was an executive producer on this Godzilla, and he also directed Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster in 1971. So there you go.
Which I hear that's actually one of the people consider that to be one of the worst Godzilla movies of all time.
Versus the Smog Monster, yeah. I mean, and they've released,
bad until right now.
They've released about 30 films, and they've kept they released a handful since Godzilla 98, but Godzilla 98 was the only Godzilla movie that really that was the first Godzilla movie to be produced outside of Japan. And it's interesting, they keep going on about how big Godzilla is, and actually he was quite a bit smaller than the Japanese version of Godzilla. And I think all of them are quite a bit smaller than the version in this film. Because Godzilla in this movie, I think, is about like 335 feet tall or something like that.
Yeah, that's right, actually, because I looked it up after. Because I was walking with a friend after we saw the movie, and I was like, I bet that building's like 2/3 of Godzilla's height. And he's like, no way, man, it's probably way, way bigger. And I was like, I don't know, look it up.
I don't know, it's Saskatoon. Every building is about 8 feet tall, so.
It's true. which you'd think wouldn't matter because they should be able to be bigger because there's a lot of city. But I don't know.
But not as much need, I suppose. What I'm trying to get at is that I think when they made this film, they made quite an effort to involve the Japanese in this because I think they wanted to sell this one internationally and not kind of have Roland Emmerich direct a disaster picture. They had Gareth Edwards direct his version of a monster movie, which I suppose if we're reviewing it, I would say that I quite enjoyed the film. It's a 2-hour romp through personal and professional tragedy. And the effects were done. Enough Godzilla? That's no. And that was one of my favorite parts. Left the audience wanting more. You never got sick of him on screen. Every time Godzilla was on screen, you really paid attention because Godzilla does all the best things in this movie. He's the best part of the film. Right. And he should be.
Yeah, like Aaron Taylor Johnson's on the screen, Bryan Cranston on the screen. You're like, I'm kind of watching, but Godzilla's on. You're like, no, I'm really watching.
This movie has two monsters in it. It has two monsters. They have the 335-foot Godzilla and like the 6-foot Bryan Cranston, because Bryan Cranston goes on a tear in this movie, and he's lives up to the Cranston billing. I think now when you see Cranston, you're like, he's going to be awesome. And he quite is. They give him some really good stuff to do in this movie. I liked him a lot.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, however, is, I don't know, almost flat out bad, would you say?
No, he's fine. I'll tell you what he is. He's a monster too in the size sense. I don't know what happened between Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2 in this movie. He's done a lot of one-arm pull-ups because he's huge.
He's lifting weights up and he's putting them down.
He's putting them down. I don't think he's putting them down. I think he's still – actually, there's a couple scenes in Godzilla. He's got like a barbell on his shoulders, just walking around, kind of doing like walking lunges with a barbell on his shoulder.
I'm surprised they kept those in.
Well, it's hard to edit those out, you know. So he was fine. He was okay. He didn't have the best stuff to do, really. I will say that Elizabeth Olsen was good, but she bothered me for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know what it is.
She's not in the movie that much either.
She's not. No. She was in The Winter Soldier? Oh, well.
Was she really?
Yeah, uncredited.
She's only at the end. She's one of the twins at the end.
Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot.
It's the kind of tag scene.
So is Aaron. Right. So is Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh.
Yeah, that's really weird that casting happened that way.
Yeah, he's Quicksilver in the new Avengers.
Yeah.
Which after seeing X-Men yesterday, they're going to have to do something really good in Avengers because this Quicksilver is fantastic in X-Men.
Who's Quicksilver in X-Men?
A guy named Evan Peters, who I'd never heard of or saw before that movie, but there's a scene in it that completely steals the whole movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually what I've heard too.
I have to stop doing this podcast before seeing movies.
It's trying to be very vague. Also, the reason
being vague.
The reason that the Japanese company Toho is involved is because they actually needed to be involved legally, or else they couldn't make the movie. So
probably because
Toho they owned Godzilla.
Yeah,
also a place in New York City.
That's Soho. It was good. Sitting there watching the credits, and it says Toho and all this stuff. You're just like, okay, so you kind of feel more at ease with that.
Yeah, some of it was filmed in Vancouver. Some of it was
quite a bit of it was filmed in Vancouver.
Did you recognize areas?
Yes, so distracting to me every time I see films in Vancouver because they're shot in Vancouver and because of who they cast in it. Because they always cast local actors, and it's so distracting to me. It just kind of takes me out of the movie.
What a catch-22 you have there, Will. You live in Vancouver to be an actor, but it's distracting to you when things are filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah, no, really. I know it sounds dumb, but it really is.
Man.
It distracted me when I watched Man of Steel.
Yeah.
It distracted me during this movie. I mean, I guess I should, get over it and get used to it. I think Godzilla, I've seen him in a couple audition rooms. He's kind of he hasn't really worked a lot since he shot this movie. He's been having a hard time. Not a lot to call for Godzilla because it's difficult when you're that level of a star because you have to be the star of the movie. Like he can't kind of get work on the side. There's no it's that expression. There's no small lizards, only small lizard parts. And Godzilla's quite large. There's not Demolition. Yeah, I guess, but
it's not acting. It's not his craft, but
it's not. Right? It's not fulfilling him artistically.
Are we talking about the WWE tag team Demolition? Or are we talking about like the actual demolishing things?
No, Demolition was a trio. It was more than just a tag team.
All right, whatever.
It was also like a way of life.
Axe, Smash, and Crush, which I named both my hands.
And then Mr. Fuji.
Who was a wrestler back in the day? Who was probably a big Godzilla fan? We don't know.
Is
it racist? I don't think it's racist to think that, is it?
Is it racist to think that a Japanese person is a fan of Godzilla?
Just automatically, yeah, because he's got as a Godzilla a fan because he's from Japan.
That's useful. This is actually this great way of introducing our new section of the podcast called "Is It Racist If?" And so, if anybody wants to just kind of chime in and tell us if it's racist to think that Japanese people like Godzilla, remember, we'll said it first.
Well, that's I don't know, racial guilt of I have to have more respect for this movie because there's Asian people in this theater. That was weird.
That's true.
I mean, if anything, that's the opposite of racism.
Well,
that's being so respectful to what they've made.
I'm just gonna.
They didn't make it though. They just watched it. They didn't make it.
What if
they
have made in the past?
What if they're born in Canada and and they're from Korea?
I promise you, they're neither born in Canada nor from Korea.
You ID'd them on the way out?
Sure. Yeah, I overheard them speaking.
Oh, okay.
And they don't. And Korean and Japanese and Chinese people don't look the same.
So you're eavesdropping on them as well as judging them for their race.
Interesting.
Oh wow! You're batting 1,000.
Dude,
you guys are really hammering me this body. I don't.
Yeah, we're trying to create controversy though.
Yeah.
Oh boy!
You bigot.
There you go. The bigot edition of the podcast where the brothers all turn on each other. Yeah.
Have we ever mentioned that we don't have any other brothers or any sisters, so that we're the three brothers of this podcast are the only siblings. We're not trying to cut anybody out. Does everybody know that?
I know that. Did you know that?
Is that a thing? You knew that. Okay, that's good.
I thought we had a sister.
No.
Did we?
That was Matt.
Oh,
I don't know what you mean.
There we go. The racist and then gender confused episode of the podcast.
Yeah, Matt's going.
It's going to get us a lot of listeners now. Everyone's going to be flocking to this.
The best part is that I edit this podcast, so I could do cut where I want.
I got to be honest. I've never listened to it because why should I? But yeah, I don't know. I don't ever know how it's edited together.
I listened to it to. Alex, all your bits are cut out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's weird. We call Dribble Threat, but you're never in it.
I'm never in it. It's just a lot of cuts or long silences.
I mean, no, I'm clean about editing it. I make a point to make it clean, good. I'm dedicated to this craft.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time editing this uninterrupted show, except for this week where the show was interrupted.
Hey, man, that music doesn't come from nowhere.
I like listening to podcasts, and they're like, "Oh, can we edit that out?" And you're just like, clearly you missed that."
Yeah, because it's just like, should we? And there's like efforts, I'm not so much interested in that.
Actually, Matt, can we edit this out? This talk about editing. Can we just cut this?
This is gone. This will be gone.
Yeah,
this will be gone. This is going to get replaced with the.
I don't know that part about editing.
It's going to be replaced by a public domain song. It's going to be replaced with a public domain reading of Moby Dick. Well, it's in the public domain.
Yes, it is, but still laughed at it anyway. So
not all readings of it would be public domain, though. That's important to point out.
That is important. Copyright laws.
Yeah, if Patrick Stewart records a Moby Dick, as he should.
Well, he was in the film,
right? And oh gosh, I think in Star Trek: First Contact, he makes a reference to it. I wish I could remember.
I'm sure some of our listeners
reaction to the Borg. Have you guys seen that one? First Contact? You guys see the Star Trek movie?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I mean, the only Star Trek things I've seen are the two most recent movies. So I have no. Did I say Star Wars or Star Trek?
You said Trek. You were good.
Okay. I just had like a weird moment. Anyway, yeah. So I have not even seen an episode of Star Trek ever.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's worth it. I own the first six of the. I own the first 6 of the original cast movies, and First Contact I think is the best and only kind of really watchable one of Next Generation.
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
I recommend it.
Isn't he? He's in. God, I think it came out in like 2001. I want to say he was one of the bad guys in
Nemesis.
Nemesis, yeah, I think that is it actually. So yeah, he's in it.
Sorry, what actor? Oh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yes, 2002. He plays the clone of Jean-Luc Picard, and he looks like a little baby. He's very young, and he's not good in it either because it's not good.
Yeah, well,
it's not his fault, but it's bad. So I recommend anybody Google Shinzon.
He's really quite the. He's not necessarily the bane of that movie. See,
boy.
Yes. We cut that. Mac, we cut that out.
It's just to amuse myself. Listen, we can't cut everything from this show.
No, just those 2 things.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, Alex, what was that? Everyone made a big to-do about that soccer match yesterday. We did mention it earlier,
well,
but it wasn't
yesterday. It was the day before last.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. We'll edit that out. Keep going.
Well, the big do about this one specifically is that it's the Champions League, UEFA Champions League. So that's the European Football Association. So that's Spain, Italy, England, France, Russia, Turkey, all the professional soccer leagues in that continent. And what we had ended up after all that rigmarole and whatnot was 2 teams from the exact same city, Madrid, Spain. We had Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid facing off. So that's the first what they refer to as a derby, which is 2 teams from the same city facing off in European Champions League history.
Oh, wow.
So Atletico Madrid actually won La Liga, which is the Spain professional league, and then were on their way to, or had the opportunity to win 2 championships, which is extraordinarily rare. I think the last time it happened, Man U did it, I think, in the late 90s. So, yeah, it was a big match. I mean, it's always a huge match. It's always played in a neutral stadium, much like the Super Bowl. So this one actually took place in Portugal. And wouldn't you know that Cristiano Ronaldo, the star striker for Real Madrid, is from Portugal originally. So there's a lot of storylines going into the game.
Wow.
And then Atletico Madrid came within 2 minutes of winning the whole thing. So in the 93rd minute, they're up 1-0, and Sergio Ramos scored on a header to tie it up. So not even, late, but in extra time, in injury time, they ended up tying it up. And that kind of crushed Atletico from there, and they kind of couldn't really put up with it. So they ended up losing 4-1.
Which is only in football that you can do that, right?
Yeah, there's no sudden death. It's 2 15-minute halves, and let's see what happens. So Gareth Bale scored, I think, in the 110th. Then Marcelo scored in the 114th, and then Ronaldo was taken down in the 118th minute. And they're already up 3-1. And so he put it in and then proceeded to rip his shirt off like he just won the whole thing for everybody. So terrible for 118 minutes, but score that one to make it 4-1, and you're the hero. So.
Well, he's very ripped too. I'm sure that shirts. Yeah, I'm sure he quite does not enjoy to wear a shirt. He's like, I wonder if he can play football shirtless. I wonder if that's possible.
I'll say that the Real goalie, Iker Casillas, he's actually the national goalie for Spain, was very happy when Ramos scored in the 93rd minute because the first goal was all his fault. So,
oh, really?
Terrible.
Yeah, that would have been the whole game.
So he just came out and it got lobbed, headed over him, and he messed it, like completely misplayed it. So he was very happy when that happened. Gave him a big kiss.
Alex, can I ask some World Cup questions?
Yeah, absolutely. The World Cup's coming up.
World Cup is coming up. Who are you going for? I mean, obviously Canada's not in it. I don't know last time Canada was, but
yeah, who should we go for in Canada? Like England?
Well, I always go for like in my heart England. I love England, so right. I think that's the kind of Steven Gerrard influence. A lot of Liverpool guys are also English footballers. So I go for England a lot. They just never end up winning. Like Spain's won the last two.
Yeah, Spain, my boys. That's who I picked last time.
Well, up until not too long ago, too, Spain always kind of had the issue of like the Barca guys playing with the Real guys. That that rivalry is so intense. It's kind of hard when they play on the same team, but they've kind of overcome that and won. They won the World Cup in 2008. They won the Euros in 2000. No, they won the World Cup.
World Cup in 10.
10, sorry. They didn't win the last two. They won the World Cup in 10 and the Euro
in
2012.
Yeah.
So, So, England's my team, and I also like Germany a lot.
Oh, there you go, England and Germany.
Yeah.
Are there any big German footballers that people would know?
No, they're all regular sized, really.
Schweinsteiger, Lucas Podolski.
Schweinsteiger.
Yeah. There's a bunch. Philip Lahm, and I'm missing like a whole bunch. It's kind of embarrassing right now, but yeah, those are kind of the bigger ones.
Schweinsteiger is the name I keep hearing.
Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Is there any way we will see Canada in a World Cup in our lifetime?
No, absolutely not.
Why is that?
Because we're I want to say it's because we're too north and cold, but Sweden always fields a team. I think Russia always fields a team. Oh, they don't?
No, well, I mean, they always have a team, but Sweden has one guy. It's Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's for Paris Saint-Germain in the French league, and yeah, he's not playing this year. There's just a couple guys who, as good as they are, their country's not really strong enough. Like, I know Sweden's kind of limped their way in a couple times. Gareth Bale, who plays for Real Madrid, he's I wish he was from England, but he's from Wales, and Wales will probably never make the World Cup. So,
oh, poor
it's
Wales.
Interesting that they're split up like that.
It also has to do like with we have issues that other countries have, whereas we have to face off against Mexico and the U.S. to qualify, and that's just not going to happen. It's
in the CONCACAF, right? That's our league.
Yeah,
and we always play like South American teams.
How close have we
or Central American teams?
We've lost to countries that have less than 1 million people population.
Yeah, but you know they're born with the first thing a baby does before they walk is kick a rolled up newspaper. Like these people are, once you get around the equator, these people are soccer crazy or football fanatics.
What you need is kind of a defined, process of fielding a strong national team like we have with hockey, right. And we just don't have it right now.
Even with basketball, we're much better off.
Basketball, and that is because of the Raptors and.
Also because in basketball and hockey, you've put 6 players on the ice or 5 players on the court. In football, you need to put 11 players on the pitch.
Yep,
and they all have to be. You can't have a weak link in the bunch.
Yeah,
and you look at Team Canada in the Olympics. The depth is insane. I mean, we could have
a second team. Like they put together a second team, and the second team looked incredible. So yeah. That's what they say. So that's Canada's best will be challenged by a lot of other countries' best, but we have a lot of depth.
We're a hockey nation. and and that's it. And then in basketball, one good player can really carry a team, whereas in football, your really good player still has to be supported by,
there's a lot of guys on the field and a lot of space. So, you can remove a player if necessary in a way. So, anyway, so that's kind of the end of the soccer season for the year now. All the leagues are done, so that won't start up again until about late August.
But the World Cup is...
Yeah, the World Cup's coming in Rio. I just wanted to say Liverpool qualified for the Champions League this year, so that's the first time in about 4 years. You have to finish top 4 in the EPL to get there.
Yeah, you mentioned it last time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to mention it every podcast.
The World Cup, would you say it's bigger than the Olympics internationally? I would say so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's the biggest international competition there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're never involved.
No, we never have anything to do.
It shows you how much we're valued in the eyes of the world. Yeah, well, and it's great for me this year because instead of being over, in South Africa or anything, it's in Rio, so they're only an hour. That's true. Yeah,
innings perfect.
Yeah, that's great.
But Matt, we watched the South Africa final together in Winnipeg.
That's right.
Yeah, at that bar, that was quite enjoyable. Okay. And my buddy Joel was rooting for the Netherlands just because.
Yeah. Netherlands has a very strong team.
And also has the best football name I've ever heard. Robert Van Persie.
Robin Van Persie, yeah. Yes. The Netherlands has some great soccer names.
Yeah, and I suppose a great soccer team, or football team. Are we going to agree to say soccer or football, by the way? This is confusing.
I don't care.
You don't care? You're the expert, so. I suppose if you don't
by default, I'm far from the expert, but this podcast.
Yeah, that's true. If we were English, I suppose we care quite a bit more. So Wales never makes it into the World Cup either.
No, Ireland has problems getting there. There's a lot. Because
Ireland has 2 teams, though, don't they?
Yeah, they have Northern
Ireland and Northern Ireland.
But they kind of have that same issue with there's just so many teams. So many great teams you have to qualify to beat, and it's it's hard.
I understand Scotland's has a team, but they're quite crap, from what I understand.
Well, I mean, yeah, I hope no Scots listen to this, but I don't know if quite crap is the way I would describe it. But
I would say that if we didn't go for Canada, we would have to root for Wales, being there. That's where our name comes from.
Yes,
our ancestry.
But
we got kind of mud ancestry, would you not say?
Well, where can we answer because outside of Canada, I really don't know where we come from. I always just assumed England or Wales or something.
Wales, I think it's
Germany, Wales, Scotland, and I think England. I think
I was going to say Uzbekistan, but yeah, you may be right. I don't know.
Oh, Germany too.
Yeah, Germany. That's why I cheer for Germany.
Oh, that's why you have that jersey, Alex. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Nanny.
It's our paternal. Yeah, that's right.
Saunders.
Paternal grandmother's.
Really?
I think so.
I had no idea. Well, now I'm completely changing my mind and cheering for Germany. You heard it here first.
You know what's great about cheering for Germany is they're actually fantastic.
They're actually a really good team. Yeah. They're actually fantastic. It's good to root. Well, that's why. I just need any reason to cheer for Germany.
Yeah, watch out this year because I'm not convinced that the winner's going to come from Europe. I think South America has a lot of great teams this year. So
they do.
Yeah.
They also have the best football player ever in history in the world ever, and he's 5'2", Lionel Messi from Argentina.
Yes, okay. I was going to say Pele, and I was pretty sure he wasn't playing anymore.
Yeah.
No, Pele's
or like Yoda, and I was like, Yoda doesn't play football.
Yeah, no, Messi has how many? You say caps or goals or what do you call them? Caps or international?
Caps is appearances.
Okay,
so that's all that means is career appearances, and goals are separate.
Goals are separate.
So if anyone has 350 caps, that means they played 350 games.
Okay.
That's
But
all
he has like something like in a game where most games are decided. Sorry, most matches are decided. 1-0 or 0-0 or something. He has like something like 8,000 goals. What? Something like that.
Yeah, something. He's basically the Wayne Gretzky of soccer.
Yeah, he's incredible.
So,
Alex, do the ties not bother you?
Do the ties not bother me?
They don't wear ties. They wear
ties.
collars sometimes, but they don't wear ties.
Yeah, no, the ties don't bother me.
No, okay.
Did the ties bother you?
I'm not eager to watch a sport where you can end the game and you might as well not have played.
Mm-hmm. So hockey from 10 years ago, you were not a fan.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Not 10 years ago, was it? Yeah,
Well,
that's why I like the shootout. I like actual results.
Well, what matters in football, like the important games, the important matches, the championship matches are always decided.
Well, what's great about soccer in the way that they don't have playoffs, like say the EPL, and it's because everyone plays the exact same teams the exact same way. So there's 20 teams. You play each team 2 times. 38 games.
You play 400 games.
Yeah, you play once at their stadium and once at your stadium. So, that kind of settles it right there. It's not like the NHL where if you're in a really weak division and you just have the most points, then the Vancouver Canucks would be like 3-time Stanley Cup champions.
Or the NFL.
Or the NFL or baseball, if you're in weak divisions, but in soccer and in the English Premier League, everyone plays it the same way.
By the way, I do believe at the time of this recording that the Blue Jays are first in the AL East.
Oh, we shouldn't talk about baseball.
Why not?
Why?
Why? Because there's a match today?
9 straight. Got swept by the Jays.
Yeah, the Jays are they're first in the AL East, and Boston's last. They're 7 games back right now.
It's early.
Yes, it is.
It is, but this time last season the Jays were already in the toilet.
Well, this time 2 seasons ago they were first in the AL East and then didn't make the playoffs. So
yeah, well they're feeling much better.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Pillsbury. Yeah. So
thanks for your sponsor, Pillsbury, with their crescents. Delicious.
I'm not a fan. Too much gluten.
Okay. I only eat things with gluten in them.
You just want a big bowl of gluten, don't you? Yeah. I just, quite frankly, can't stand the stuff. Yeah, I'm out. I did want to plug a friend of mine. He is one of the producers of the upcoming film.
Moving on. Well, that's not really podcast material, I guess is what we should be saying.
Podcast confessions.
Take 2. He's the producer of the upcoming film Edward, starring Michael Eklund and Sarah Canning, which coming to a festival near you. Not sure which one. However, he's one of the producers, and he's also one of the stars of the show Spamalot at the Arts Club Stanley Theater on Granville Street until June 29th. I saw this show the other night, and
that's in Vancouver, everyone.
Yes. Well,
there's a Granville Street in Halifax.
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's a Granville.
Things actually happen there.
There's a Granville Avenue, I think, in Richmond. But the show was quite enjoyable. It's basically the stage version of Monty Python and the Quest for the Grail.
Oh, okay.
And I was in such a Python mood after that. My good friend Ian Hanlon, friend of the show, lent me his kind of 6-part Monty Python documentary.
Oh wow!
Called Almost the Truth. Which was it's a fascinating look. I'm in such a Python mode right now, but it's such a fascinating look at them and all behind the scenes. I mean, the first series went on the air in 1969, so it's 45 years ago.
It's crazy.
One thing about that movie, Will, that he's in, I think you missed somebody else who's in that. Did you not?
In Edward?
Yes.
It's got Torrance Coombs in it. He's on CW's Reign right now.
No, we all know that.
Christopher Heyerdahl from the Twilight series. Quite a few good local actors. I make an appearance too.
Oh, you're in it.
I guess I should lollygag around. It's a film where I make an appearance.
Can we cut out that lollygagging?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone.
Yeah, can we censor that? Bleep. No, shan't be any lollygagging here.
What would I bleep, the lolly or the gagging?
It's kind of like when someone says a-hole in
act of lollygagging.
Remember when someone
I hate it when they say ass bleep. That makes no sense to me. What are you doing? That's not the. If we're gonna parse out the language like that, and we're gonna decide which parts of words are the inappropriate ones, I think we are gonna censor ass. Are we not?
Yeah, it'd be like you know. I don't understand. I will say I don't know why the word hole makes that more offensive.
Well, because you could be talking about the animal, the ass, but that very specifically shows you that you are not. You're talking about a part of the anatomy.
Yeah, it's like they said on SNL last week. It's like, you can't say anus. Yes, I can. It's medical. Which it is. Right. You can say anus, sphincter, rectum. You can say all those things.
Looks like the victim had anal contusion.
That was on Law & Order Special Victims Unit at 2 p.m.
Do you guys see the trailer for Mulaney?
Yes.
I have not.
Sorry, for the non-initiated, that is from John Mulaney, who was a comedian, former, not head writer, but I guess writer for Saturday Night Live. But he has a show coming out, a self-titled, I guess, show, Mulaney.
Yeah.
And I saw
passed on and Fox picked up.
Yes, which is kind of unfortunate. I didn't love what I saw from the trailer. I think I'm multicam. Multicam. I don't really love that format. I haven't seen a sitcom in multicam that I've liked for a very long time.
Here's my review of that trailer. I will watch the show anyway.
Okay.
That's
yeah, the trailer won't sway me in either way.
Did it make you want to? Were you more optimistic or less optimistic watching the trailer?
I will watch it regardless of that trailer.
So you didn't like the trailer?
No.
Okay, good.
Well, yeah. How good can a sitcom trailer be?
That's a good question.
What's your favorite sitcom trailer? I think the one for the one for Full House was a real humdinger.
WRKRP Cincinnati. Good.
Night Court had a good one. What else? All in the Family.
I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy. Coming soon to a television set near you. It's I Love Lucy.
Golden Girls had a great trailer.
Hey, don't knock Golden Girls, man. That show was hilarious.
It was literally not knocked.
You're very defensive about Golden Girls.
I was quite cautious. He was not at all knocking it, and yet I leapt to its defense. That show holds up. I don't even care what you say.
Again, no one said anything.
Yeah, well, some of our listeners might be like, I think it sucks. Listen, guy who thinks it sucks listening to this podcast, you're wrong. Take your earbuds out and
okay, that's fine. That's good. I think you've
put them up your nose.
Okay, there we go.
That's the cleanest way I could have finished that.
Also, if you're going to put your earbuds anywhere else other than your ears, I think your nose is probably a pretty safe bet. Maybe your mouth.
Your eyes. That would hurt.
No, I'm not saying hurt. I would say most effective place for them.
Most effective.
You got nostrils to shove them up there. That's all I'm saying.
If you don't have pockets to put your earbuds in, store them in your nose when not listening to them. That way people will know you're paying attention to what they're saying.
That's good.
Yeah, I always make a point to take them out if I'm like, kind of bombing around with my earbuds in, listening to this show on infinite loop, as everyone does. I always make a point.
One infinite loop, Apple's,
yeah, Apple
in Cupertino, California.
Show. Actually, I drove. In Silicon Valley, I saw signs kind of pointing to infinite loop, to Apple's headquarters. I wanted to check it out, but I would assume that it was just a big, boring building. But when I walk around with my earbuds in, I always make a point to take them out if I'm to order a coffee or have a conversation with somebody. I see it from time to time when people have like their buds still in. They're kind of talking to someone's like, yeah. It's the first thing I do is rip them out. Boom. They come right out. What about you guys? You guys keep them in or take them out when you're talking to somebody?
Take them out.
Yeah, if I'm gonna have like an actual conversation, I might take him out. If I'm just gonna like order something really quick and I'm on my way somewhere, I might just pop out one and make it clear that I'm listening to them.
Make up that one. I'm sorry, I'm quite pressed for time. I don't have time to remove both buds from my ears, you see. So I shall take out one, my left, my better ear, if you must.
My right ear? No, it's my right. It's my right. Also, why do you assume I have nowhere good to go?
When you're ordering.
Where do you go?
I got places to go, people to see.
Yeah, but
Yeah, magic to make, man.
you got a podcast to record. You got to take out the other bud, though.
You guys want to talk amongst yourselves for 1 minute? I just gotta, pee.
Bye. Well, I don't know.
I mean, we're approaching the end here, so we can just kind of
let's stretch it out as much as possible. No, I gotta go see.
So bad I have to pee.
I'm gonna see X-Men DOFPA in about 50 minutes. So next week we'll give you the review of X-Men DOFPA. Oh, our Godzilla review.
If Alex isn't here, we can go a little spoilery here.
Yeah, but the listeners of our great listeners might want to
Fine.
still see it. So, for the Triple Threat Podcast, I'm Will Vaughan.
Wait, are we closing without Alex here?
No, I'm here.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, I thought you were gone.
He's
No,
I thought you were on your way.
Here up a bit, but I'm still here.
All right, I apologize.
Really?
Okay, so that's Will Vaughan.
So we'll edit that out. For the Triple Threat Podcast, I'm
God.
Will Vaughan.
I'm Matt Vaughan.
And my name is Alex Vaughan.
Okay. Thanks for enjoying the audio cluster muck this week.
Yeah.
We'll try to do better next time.
Bye.
I love you. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. I'm hanging up now.
No, you hang up first.
No, you hang up first.
Okay.
No, let's hang up at the same time.